What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're looking at some more Entitled Parent stories. Let's get into them. Entitled Mother throws shells of food to the floor because I didn't break a rule for her, and now her baby will starve. So, as stated in my past few posts here, I work at Tesco, which is a supermarket in the UK, and it's in a pretty bad area if I'm being honest. I'd never live there. And thanks to Christmas picking away at people's pockets, a lot of people have started attending the reduction shelves a lot more than normal. So my job has been pretty hectic as of late. Normally it's the occasional pushy customer who barges past me to get something off the shelf, and I don't mind that too much. It's to be somewhat expected, to be honest, but today something happened that actually made my blood boil. It all started after I was just finishing off the first reduction of the day. There are 3 normally, and today I was working late, so I ended up doing all 3. When I saw an arm reach over my head and grab a leg of lamb off the bottom shelf, I then heard a loud sigh followed by an "Excuse me?" I turned around to meet eyes with a woman, late 40s with typical Karen haircut. Holding her hand is a young girl who looks around 6 or 7 years old. So I say, "Yes, can I help you?" "The lamb is only £1.45p cheaper than normal. You need to make it cheaper because I want to buy lots of them and freeze them all. My little girl loves her lamb, don't you, sweetie?" Side note, there were around 15 lamb legs on the shelf left over from Christmas. The little girl nods. I smile and respond with, "Unfortunately, that's as low as it will go for now. I won't be doing the next review until around 2 o'clock. She does one of those weird fake smiles and asks, "And how much will it be then?" I tell her I didn't know, as the price normally varies from between 30 to 55% off depending on how many have been sold since the first reduction. She then smiles again and says, "Well, I don't think that'll be cheap enough either. Can you do any better?" I then explain that at around 6 o'clock we will do our final reduction, and anything that's left gets around 75% knocked off. And this seems to please the entitled mum, and as she was walking away, she shouts back to me, "So if you save me about 5 of those lamb legs, I'll be back at around 7 o'clock. "Sorry mum, but I'm not allowed to save stock for anyone. It's first come, first served. That's the rules," I shout back. The entitled mum laughs and repeats the fact that she'll be back at 7, and then walks with her daughter around the corner, so I continue with my work. I was about halfway done with the final reduction of the day, and by this point it's around 6:45 and all of the mentioned lamb legs are already gone. They were picked off the shelves almost instantly, and this is when I see the entitled mum coming down the aisle towards me, basically dragging her poor daughter behind her, and I can already see the fire in her eyes. "Where is all the lamb? I told you to save me some." I take a step back and try to explain, "I'm sorry mum, but like I said earlier, we aren't allowed to—" "No, I don't want to hear your excuses. We needed that lamb for our meals. We don't have a lot of money after Christmas, and that was going to feed my baby. Now she's going to starve." I was almost certain that the entitled mum was exaggerating, but to try and calm the situation down, I offered her some of the other food I hadn't reduced yet at a slightly better rate. The entitled mum then looked through the trays that the rest of the food was stacked in. I like to take it off the shelves and keep it next to me so I know what I have and haven't done yet, but when she had finished, she started screaming again. "We don't want any of this trash. We want our lamb. Get some off the shelf and give it to me now. You have to, or we will starve." I really am sorry, but I'm not allowed. I cut myself off when I saw the entitled mum put her hands on the stack of trays of food that I was stood next to, and she pushed them onto the ground. The food went everywhere. Yogurt, meat, milk, pasta, dips all over the floor, me and the other customers. Some of it even went on her own daughter. At this point I'm furious and I want to scream at the entitled mum. I want to throw the food back in her face and shove her to the ground. A few members of staff, including my manager, have now run over and are making sure everyone is okay. The entitled mum then begins to walk away without even checking to see if her own daughter was okay. My manager followed after her and left me and the other staff to clean the mess. I ended up staying around 45 minutes late to clean up the floor and myself. Around 150 pounds of food had to go to waste tonight, all because I didn't break a rule for someone. Oh man, imagine getting so worked up and ruining so many people's days just because something is a little bit more expensive than you'd like to have paid for it. Like literally, I don't know if you guys have reduced things in America or across the globe, but in England they go down by about 50p, literally half a dollar. That sort of money is not going to make the difference between starving and not. Like, come on. I really hope this entitled mum faced some consequences because you can't get away with that. Ruining 150 pounds worth of food. What the heck? Moving on to our second story. Karen decides to wreak havoc to me and my family for months. She gets arrested. So, some backstory. I live in a suburban area. I am no means rich, but I'm at best lower middle class, and I've been living in the house I'm in for almost 11 years now. We were lucky we got it off foreclosure back in 2009 when I was a teenager, so we finally got to move out of the trashy trailer home I grew up in. I've seen some neighbors come and go since, including one old lady who was the predecessor of the Karen. She was mean and seemed to have it out for me, sometimes calling the police for noise complaints from the house. However, I never truly got in trouble since my neighbors always backed me up. The most they were scared of was my pit bull, but my neighbors know her well. She's partially blind and totally deaf, but she can still do some tricks because she can read lips. She's a smart dog. What? That's insane. She's also naturally very protective of us, so while she'll bark at anyone who comes near us, she'll never harm a soul. She even got out a few times and just cuddled with some of our old neighbors, even though people kept insisting she was aggressive because pit bulls are naturally aggressive, and so on and so forth. I heard it plenty of times already, but she's never going away until she goes from old age. Around mid-July this year, it turns out the old neighbor was completely incapable of fending for herself anymore due to her age, and she was put in a retirement home a few miles down from where we live. The house was in her kids' names, but they decided to put it on the market instead. It was vacant for several weeks until early mid-August she came, the Karen. Cue intense piano solo, thunder crackling, and wicked witches laughing. I don't know how long she was scouting the house for, but around early mid-August she officially moved in. Day one, she goes around the neighborhood, seemed normal until she came to our door. Instead of greeting us, she begins to make demands from us, insisting we remove our tree and the plants in our front lawn since they'll blow leaves on my lawn and my lawn has to be maintained and you and your plants are going to hurt it in the long run. Note, she was literally the street away from us, a total of 8 houses apart on the other side of the street. We told her no and that she'll be fine, but for the next 10 minutes or so, she kept pushing it until finally my stepmother slammed the door on her. Apparently, later on, from what I learned, she made similar demands to our other neighbors, and some demanding that they either move out entirely because they'll scare her son with their appearance, and with some threatening to call the cops. I still don't get her reasoning behind this, but whatever. Day 2, I'm off to work around 7 in the morning when I begin to unlock the car. Karen saw me and ran across to me, seemingly fuming. You, stop right there! You have a pit bull in that house? I'm confused. Yeah, but don't worry, she's a total teddy bear. She's just— No, I demand you get rid of that hexborn now! Pit bulls are the lapdog of the devil and all they're good for is killing. They're super aggressive and I bet that she's been dreaming of biting your head off many times already. And as it stands, she's a threat to my son and the neighborhood. I'm taken aback, but after a few moments I reply, Mom, as I said, she's a teddy bear. I know you're scared, pit bulls have a bad reputation, but I swear she's been trained well and she wouldn't hurt a fly. I've been living with her all my life and not once did I see her attack a soul. I swear, you and everyone else is safe. That is bull. You're lying. If you don't get her impounded or put down today, I'm calling the freaking cops on you. Saying you and that devil dog assaulted me. Who are they gonna believe? Someone like me or a low-life POS like you? I was very much annoyed at this lady, so I just got in my car and began to drive off. She slammed her fist on the roof of my car several times, but eventually I got to work. Luckily, she didn't leave a dent. When I came back home around 5:30 that afternoon, there were 2 police cars near my house, and Karen standing there, giving me a trash-eating grin, and giving me the middle finger. I got out, and the moment I went inside, I see my dog sitting on the chair with 2 policemen sitting on the couch, and my mum and stepmom in the living room. From what I got, my dog was trying to protect my mum and stepmom once the police came in, but luckily my stepmom managed to calm my dog down. And things were well, she even came and licked one of them. After talking to them for a while, they decided to drop the case then and there, but keep an eye out on both my dog and Karen. She got off without any trouble, I don't think even a warning. The next day, she does it again and threatens to call the cops on us if we do not get rid of my dog. Then came the incident that nearly ruined my life. I was at work in early November and I was doing my normal thing out in the shop when she came in and asked for me specifically. My boss figured that we knew each other, oh trust me we did, and brought me over. She wanted me to get a part for her and my first thought was, okay, but you could have literally asked anyone else, but I complied and did it anyway, figuring it was going to be only a minute of being near this demon. What she wanted was on the top shelf, and when I got it she got angry saying, why did you touch me? And I just looked confused. I just said, sorry, I'm trying to get your thing, sorry if I bumped into you, and got it. She looked like she wanted to kill me and walked away. A few hours later, I'm called in, and apparently she filed a sexual harassment claim against me, saying I touched her butt and called her dirty names, and when I told them to check the cameras to where we were, they found out there was no contact whatsoever. But the police were there, so I asked, she's been harassing me and my family for months. Is there anything I can do? They just told me, unless you have proof, we cannot do anything. No proof, no charges. I was furious when I drove home for the day and decided to talk to a friend of mine who knew law much better than me. He recommended to record her in the acts and that my state was a one-party consent state, so I figured next time she did her trick, I'd have her. Well, it turns out I never had to do anything. Weird, I know. A few days after Thanksgiving, I walked out of my house to go to work and I saw a police car across the street and Karen in the back of the car in handcuffs. Well, I couldn't see it exactly, but I figured she was. And then I saw her son. Her son looked like he was near death, bruises everywhere and cuts across his legs and chest. I froze, but one of my neighbors, let's call him Mark, brought me back down to earth and told me what happened. Apparently, she started something with him earlier that day and she threatened to kill him and his entire family. He called the cops and that was it. Later on, I figured out she was charged with possession of drugs, child endangerment/abuse, and a few other things like harassment and destruction of property. I don't know how long she's going to serve, but I don't care. I'm just glad she's gone. The house is vacant now and it probably will be for a long time. I just hope if the house is able to be saved, the next one to move in will be less of a butthole than Karen. Oh wow, OP, this sounds like the plot of a Lifetime movie. You should try and pitch it to them. You need to get John Wick involved in this one. Wow. Can you imagine? John Wick 4, The Entitlement. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's a shame that Karens that are this extreme even exist. I don't really know what you can do about them. They just need to be locked up. I'm sorry to you, I'm sorry to her kind dog, and I'm just sorry to her son, man. Child endangerment and abuse, that is just no joke. That is just horrible. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of our /Entitled Parents. I really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to like the video, comment your opinions on the stories down below, and subscribe for daily videos on my channel. If you want more content straight away, make sure to click the video on screen right now. It's a good one, trust me. With that all being said, I will see you guys tomorrow with 2 brand new videos on the channel.